go. Meatball George, Meatball Bargain, how are you today?
Great. How are you, Brother John?
I got a question. If you're a Meatball Bargain, does that mean that you're like on clearance somewhere? Are you on sale?
I'm on sale. I'm always on sale. I got the best deals around.
All right, very nice. So, quick question. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
There's a game Thursday.
That's what I heard.
Yes, there is a game this coming Thursday.
Not only is it a game, it's going to be a battle royale.
All right.
You got the Los Angeles Rams at home, the current world champions,
World champions.
playing this year's Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills. How's that for a game matchup?
You know, the NFL, sometimes they get lucky and they get these great matchups. I don't know how they do it.
I tell you what, I got to be honest with you. That's not the game I would want to see. And I think there's too much of this interleague play. And, you know, if you want to have the AFC champion play and the NFC champion in the Super Bowl, why is there so much cross conference play? Then you really don't get a record of truly who's the best AFC or who's the best NFC, because they're not playing only AFC and NFC teams. They're just playing all over. So it's like, but that's a whole nother story. That's my problem, not yours. No issue.
Yeah, that's a different problem.
Yeah.
So we've got a game coming up.
Okay.
And good news for the Bills. They've announced that Jordan Poyer is expected to play.
Yes.
I think Bills fans kind of expected that. I think when he got hurt, we had heard that they thought he would be back in time for the first game, but it's nice to kind of make it at least semi-official.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Daboll will not be calling plays for the New York Giants.
Yep.
That came out yesterday. And Ken Dorsey will be calling plays for the Buffalo Bills.
All right.
I think that's about everything. All the news. We know Trey White won't be playing. He's out for. He's getting a 3-week extended leave.
4 week.
4 week. He's got a 4-week extended leave. So, what are your thoughts on this first game?
All right, let me tell you something. I watched a lot of other videos and a lot of other so-called experts, and a lot of these guys are smart too, and women. But all they talk about is like the if this, then maybe that, or if that, then, you know, if this guy is healthy, or if this guy can play, or if, you know, there's a lot of ifs. And I'm absolutely tired of the ifs. So let's get that out of the way. We're going to do something that they don't always do. We're going to be clear cut and pick the winner. So on the Rams side, okay, here's the if. They lost Von Miller. So who will help Aaron Donald? Will that defensive line get the push that they had in the past? Will Aaron Donald be a disruptor, or will the Bills line be able to compensate and double team that guy, or even triple team if they need to? The Rams O-line is weaker than it was a year ago. And so does that mean that Stafford can be protected? And then Stafford, you know, he's been out a lot during training camp with tendonitis in his elbow.
Throwing elbow.
Yeah, as throwing elbow. Now I saw him today and yesterday, and he was talking about, oh yeah, I feel like I could make all the throws. Well, you could feel like you make all the throws, but when you got Jordan Phillips, Ed Oliver, Von Miller coming right at you, and you're not as mobile as it used to be because you're 34 years old, that might be a problem for them. And then on the Bills side, I mean, it's obvious. They have no Trey White. He's out.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And that leaves the Bills cornerbacks going to be a lot of rookies in there to go against some of the best receivers in the league. Certainly Cooper Kupp may be the best. He's got the numbers to back it up. You got Allen Robinson, who's been struggling at Chicago, but is that really because they had quarterback issues? And so we're going to see. We're going to see. So now we're going to go down to who I think is going to win and why. Here's what I think is going to happen. it's the first game of the first of this season. It's the first game for both teams. It's the first game for the league. A lot of people think this is going to be a shootout. I do not. I think both teams are going to be jabbers in the first quarter. They're going to jab and try and establish a run. And they're going to test over here and test over there. And they're going to try and keep Stafford from having to be scrambling and make. I know. I like your
jabbing, but I'm doing it like the Three Stooges.
Yeah. And so I think the Rams are going to be feeling their way, and they're going to try and establish a run and see if they can do that. But, you know, the Bills now are built better against the run. There's still some question marks about the Rams' backs and whether they're truly healthy or not. And I think the Bills are going to be able to shut down the run. And if they shut down the run and put Stafford in a lot of long passing situations, which is what I think they're going to do, I think by the end of the game, Stafford is going to have a totally dirty uniform. It's going to be green instead of blue and gold or whatever their colors are. And on the Bills side, I think the Bills are going to come out and they're going to jab a little bit too. They're going to want to see if they've got that running game going. They're not going to want to put Josh Allen immediately at risk with Aaron Donald coming right at it for his head. And I think they're going to just throw shorter passes. I think McKenzie's going to be involved early. I think Dawson Knox is going to be involved early. We may get some throws to the running back out of the backfield, Cook, early to see what he's got before the Bills open up. And I think the first half is going to be a close game. It's going to be a lower scoring event. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. I think you might see halftime might be 10-7 or 14-10 or something like that. I don't think that's going to be a ton of points. But in the second half, I think the Bills are going to break things open. I think the Bills are really going to start to extend the plays. They're going to spread out the field. They're going to start finding Diggs and Gabe Davis. They're going to open up the middle. They're going to find McKenzie in the slot. They're going to start getting a running game when they got that lead. Singletary is going to pound for some yards, as we always see him do. And I think that they're going to grab a lead. And I think they're going to be up maybe as much as 27-10. Hello. I think they're going to be up as much as 27-10, and they're going to coast to a victory. But I think the Rams will score a couple of more times. You might see like 27-20, and while the Bills are counting down the clock. And if this was later in the season with Trey White back, I think you might see a blowout here. I think the Bills are that much better than the Rams. So that's what I'm calling it. Like 27-20, Bills over the Rams. They cover the spread on the road, first game of the season.
Okay. Well, let me throw a couple things at you here.
Okay.
What year is it?
2022.
So on or around 2018, yeah. I've been listening to you predict that they are going to use the running backs in the passing game for years now. Now, it's not all on video. You just have to trust me. But for 3 years, I've been hearing you project.
Yep.
Running backs in the passing game.
Yeah.
Look, we know that in the offseason, they really did try to beef up that area of their team. Mm-hmm. Presumably James Cook, because of his pass catching abilities. And we know, I mean, it's common knowledge. It was widely reported they went after J.D. McKissick.
Yes.
JD or DJ, whatever, McKissick.
JD.
So you could be right there. You might finally be right with that one.
You might finally be right. Yep.
You might get one.
You know, if you spin the wheel clockwise every turn, sooner or later you're going to hit one.
Eventually the clock is going to be right. It's twice a day.
That's right, twice a day the clock. So that to me. The Bills are going to use the running backs in the game, and I neglected to say Shakir will play a part in this game. I think Shakir will spell Davis. I think Shakir might spell Diggs. And I think you'll see Shakir make some plays. And I think Crowder will spell Isaiah McKenzie, but I do think McKenzie is going to be a star in this game.
Okay. So we don't really do a lot of fantasy predictions, but are you suggesting that McKenzie might be a good flex option?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. If you're thinking any time for a guy like McKenzie, who is not high on a lot of draft lists, but if you want to throw a guy into a flex, he's got one of the best, and I hate to single out, say the best, but one of the best quarterbacks in the league, a decent offensive line, and a lot of options to keep all those defensive backs in play or keep them all busy. And I think this is a time where a guy like McKenzie, with the pass rush that might come out to Josh Allen, could be really important. And maybe we'll see him catch anywhere from 7 to 10 balls.
Okay. All right. So look, I do not know right now what the sports books are putting at, like the over under for the first half.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that might be something to look at because Allen threw 3 passes.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford didn't throw a pass. I don't know that. I know that, or I would imagine that the Rams will have an emotional high, having celebrated. The fans will be going nuts, so they'll raise the banner.
Absolutely.
Well, gotten there,
and they should. And they should. They deserve it. They did it. They got through that gauntlet and they won.
They might very well have a nice opening drive or whatnot, but I also don't think it'll be a very high scoring first half.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Now, do you remember? I mean, I know you do. But a couple of years ago, the Rams came to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills won that game. They got out to a first half lead.
Right.
Rams came back.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they took the lead. And then Allen led the team down for a go-ahead score.
Right. That's exactly right. That was the year that the Bills were the worst third quarter team in the league. They had to be. Just play. Remember that year? It's like, it's the third quarter. How far backwards are they going to go? Is it going to be so far backwards they can't make it up in the fourth quarter? And we saw that game after game after game that year.
One of the things about McVay in particular, he seems to be able to make some adjustments at halftime.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right, sure.
And for all the wizardry that McDermott does with the defensive backs, without Trey in there to help, to be available to do some different things, I am a little concerned that after an entire half, so maybe the Bills will have had 4 drives, or maybe the Rams would have had 4 drives, maybe 5 drives and a half, that the Rams offensive coordinator and McVay are going to get together and have a pretty good idea of the kinds of zones and what the safeties are doing. That could lead to some difficulties in the Bills getting off the field in the second half. I'm a little concerned with the defense's ability to slow down the Rams or stop the Rams in the second half. And that could lead to some higher scoring. If the defensive front comes out and plays the way they're projected to, then that might not be a problem, right? But because if you can't stop the front 4, if you can't stop the front 7, then the defensive backs may not come into play. What they're doing or taking advantage of what the defensive backs are doing may not come into play. But Cooper Kupp is a wily veteran now. Safford's injury, the tendonitis. He hasn't. For all I know, the guy hasn't thrown a pass in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I understand that accuracy could be, a little bit of rustiness might be there, but there's every reason to expect that he'll be able to throw pretty well in this game. That could be the kind of injury that over time, as it's a long season, over time, it may affect his ability to reach downfield and to make certain passes. But game 1, I doubt that he would have much issue with that. He's their guy no matter what. I mean, as long as he can go, he's got to go. I don't know who the heck their backup is, but I can't imagine that he's got the kind of quality that they would be willing to swap him out.
Yeah, the backup is Vinny Boombox. I mean, I don't know. Is it nobody? But I agree. But I think in the second half, the Bills will make some adjustments too. They're going to really shut down the run against the Rams and force Matthew Stafford into multiple long throwing attempts. And I think that's going to help the Bills be able to get home. And you might see some picks here, and you might see a number of sacks here. And I think they will really crush the Rams in that third period, which is different than what happened in 2018. And I think then, or 2019, whatever it was. And I think then you will see the Bills back off in the fourth quarter, go to the run game, and coast to a victory.
All right. Yeah, I'm thinking that this game is going to be quite a bit closer.
Okay.
I'm thinking this game, I'm thinking if we winning this game is going to be about what Josh Allen can do when he improvises.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Both with his legs and getting away. I think he's going to get chased around quite a bit. I don't think he's going to get great protection in this game. And I'm concerned that he's going to have to move around quite a bit. So he's an improviser and a scrambler. He's really good at it. He's got that great arm. He sometimes picks out guys, throws across the middle, but makes these great connections. So it could be, especially the second half, it could be about what he does, making some magic out there. I'm thinking more like 28-24. I'm going to go with the Bills as well. Okay. But low scoring first half for me, and then in the second half, who the hell knows? The Rams might very well pull up some points, and we'll see if the Bills can stay ahead or keep up with them.
All right, I just feel the Bills have too many weapons right now for the defensive backs. On the Rams, yes, they have Jalen Ramsey, one of the best defensive backs in the league, but he's only one guy. And if you don't throw towards him, then he can't hurt you. So they got so many weapons. They got Diggs will probably be covered by Ramsey, but then you got Davis, you got McKenzie, you got Dawson Knox, you got a back out of the backfield. There's four more receivers right there. And it's going to be tough for the Rams, the rest of their defensive backs, to cover all that. I think if you get a guy like James Cook or you get a guy like McKenzie on a linebacker, they're going to be just way too fast for him. And then if they sprinkle in some Shakir, who is so shifty, I think it's going to be a really tough day for the Rams defensive backs. And if without another strong guy on the Rams line, I don't know how they're going to stop Josh Allen from throwing the ball. I really don't. I think Josh Allen will stop himself in the first half because I think it'll be a little bit more conservative play calling with sprinkled us in some short passes to try and use the clock, try and move the ball, and establish some the advantage in the time of possession. But in the second half, I think he'll open it up and just burn those guys. I really do.
Well,
I think Matthew Stafford with his injury is just going to be too much for him if he's in a lot of second long or third and longs. Sure, he's going to make some, but if they got 5 possessions and they score on 3, and the Bills have 5 possessions and they score on 5, I mean it's just going to be too much for the Rams, I think.
Well, I hope you're right. I'm kind of thinking that McVay and his guys are going to they're going to put their stamp on this game in some way.
Okay. I'm still a believer that no coach takes a snap. So he's got to have the horses to do it. He could have the greatest game plan in the world, but if he ain't got the horses, He can't do it. And I think the perfect
You're talking about
example of that is a guy in New England.
you're talking about the world champions and saying that they don't have the horses to win a game, to win this game. And
I think they got great key players in key positions. I don't think where you win on the line that they have the players. I don't think they have the people on the offensive line, and I think their defensive line is weaker. And that's where you win or lose a game. It's right there in the trenches. And that's where I see the Bills taking advantage.
all right, well, let's see how it goes.
That's my call. You're welcome for your call. And we both picked the Bills for a win. You pick the Rams to score a few more points and be a little closer. And John, honestly, you're usually right. So
Well,
it should be fun.
Listen, if they walk out with a win, that's all that matters.
You know, wouldn't it have been more fun to see Kansas City, Cincinnati open up the season and have AFC championship game or the NFC championship game as a
So was the championship game, was the NFC championship game, was that Green Bay, LA last year? Is that what that was?
I think so. So why not do one of those? Why go for the projected Super Bowl in week 1? I mean, why not wait for it to be the Super Bowl? I think that's just not, I think it's stupid myself.
Well, look, from a strategic standpoint of looking at the schedule, at some point the Bills this year were going to have to go to LA. It's just as well for them to get it done now. And then when they come back home, they don't have to play till they got the extra days because they play on Thursday, and then they don't play till Monday.
And then they're gonna play Tennessee Titans, who are weaker than they were last year, even though they get Henry back. And I think the Bills are just gonna absolutely crush them. But that's week 2.
Well, that's week 2. That's week 2, and we can, after we see just how well the Bills do or don't stop the running in this game, when they're playing all their when both teams are playing their starters, we could project to see how well we think they'll do against Derrick Henry.
I love having this on video because we could actually, we can't run away from our predictions. Instead of some of these other guys that are like, well, if this happens, then that could happen. And then they say, well, we were right if that happened, and that's what happened. And, it's just like, come on, make a prediction. If you're gonna make a prediction, say it. And don't play it. Say it.
Well, it's on tape now, isn't it? All right. So, anything else you want to do before we sign off?
Only if you do.
No, it's good. I think we got. I think we went over what we think is going to happen and who's going to win. That's the major points. You also made a very interesting prediction with McKenzie having a big day.
Mm-hmm.
I think McKenzie might have a big second half.
Yeah, that could be.
I think he might have a big second half. Allen likes to throw downfield.
Yes, he does.
So we'll see if they can get that done, and if not, if the new coordinator can get in his ear and get him to use more of the field or more of his players. So,
well, I think that the new offensive coordinator is going to be calling the plays. And Josh is always going to have the ability to do what he thinks is right based on the coverage. But I don't think they're going to be able to cover McKenzie. And if they put Shakir in there, I don't think they'll be able to cover him either. So
no, that is just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Dawson Knox had a nice. He took some questions and he talked about how he felt that Buffalo is a second home to him.
Uh-huh.
I think he. We've lost a brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a week after the burial, I think, is where it's working out. And I bet you he really wants to get out there, get out in the field and hit somebody. And
yes.
I know I could have used an opportunity to hit somebody about a week after Richard passed.
Dawson Knox lost a young brother. Did you ever really hear what happened?
No, it might have been reported, and I don't even, I
never really heard what the deal was. how he passed away, but it's a tragedy. And he was really young. I mean, he didn't even really live his life. He was only like 20 years old or something.
Yeah, the real
He was a young kid.
Yeah.
And so that was very tragic. And Dawson Knox, yeah, he's going to be ready to get his mind on something. And I think he
I have to think
have
so
a good
right
day.
now,
Yeah. He also could have a good game. You might see a couple of touchdowns on that guy.
You know what? Let's hope so. Not just for the Bills, but for him.
Yeah, the way I'm saying it, they're going to win 67-0, but I don't really think that. I don't think that's going to happen.
All right. Well, for Meatball Bargains, this is Brother John.
And this is
Everybody, have a good evening. Enjoy the game.
all right. Enjoy the game. 3 days to go till kickoff.
All right. If anything happens between exciting or whatever happens between now and then, we'll probably do another video. Otherwise, we may not do one. I'm sure we'll do a post game video.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for it. If you like this little conversation and our prognostication, please give us a thumbs up. That's right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, John. See you later. Bye, everybody.